Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I just got back from Napa, California. I went to the Link to Investor meetup where Jack McDonald from PolySign, he was there, and I got to meet him and got to talk to him. Very nice guy, and very smart, sharp guy. And that was really a really interesting meetup, and all of the link to investors that were there, they were such nice people. Got to have some Napa wine with all of them, and it was a real treat, and everybody was so nice, and it was such a good time. Okay, I've got some video on that from Linda P. Jones. She did a little talk there at the conference, and it was talking about the Ripple and a potential IPO and some of that. I'm going to cover that here in a minute. First, I wanted to show you this video from Andy Schectman. Now, Andy Schectman is a guy I met last week. I did a Zoom call with him. This guy's kind of like Jack McDonald. He's scary smart too, okay? And I did a Zoom call with him. This guy's been in the gold business for over 30 years. And something that I've wanted for a long time is a good, reasonably priced, physical gold sponsor. And now I have one. Miles Franklin. Andy Schectman is the guy. And watch this video. He makes a lot of sense.
Things collapse the way that I think they will, and I think the way they want them to incite the Great Reset, to level the playing field so most of the public who lost everything, remember, most of the debt owed to us, says, fine, I'll take the CBDC as long as you're making me whole, I'll sign on the dotted line. There has to be an event that makes people want the CBDC. And I really do believe that that is what they are trying to orchestrate by culling of the banks, by fraying the world reserve status, the petro status, and dividing this country, who really doesn't have what it takes right now, I think, to be united, to push back against this. All they need to do is have that event, blow up the markets. And the best part about their plan...
Sounds like Ice 9 to me.
And look, when I saw Biden say it's Putin's inflation, I said, oh my God, there it is. Because inflation, 100% of the time, is a monetary event. It has nothing to do with the war in the Ukraine. It is a monetary event. It is an increase in the money supply. We printed more money in 4 years than in the history of the country preceding it. I'm like, they're looking for a villain. And so what better way to create the reset than by weaponizing the dollar, pushing away Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia standing on a stage with the BRICS, the Belt Road, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the Eurasian Economic Union, all of these countries. And by the way, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the Eurasian Economic Union are believed to be invited into the BRICS. We're going to find that out in the next.
That was Mexico. Did you hear about that?
Yes, and absolutely. And so
what if they put like a military base for one of their, like China puts a base in Mexico, or Russia puts a funded...
Understand how Putin feels, because having NATO in Finland, in Poland, and in the Ukraine surrounding them, you might understand how he feels. The media does a very poor job of playing both sides. Yeah. The bottom line is simply this. If they were to move away from the dollar, it creates an event that none of us are prepared for. And so, yeah, I think that it's really never been more important, Patrick. It's never been more important to de-dollarize, to mitigate your exposure to the dollar. And don't look at any of these plays with the idea of getting wealthy. Look at it more along the lines of getting out of the way of what's coming at you.
Yeah, and I think the getting out of the way for me is XRP and gold. Now, Andy Schectman, I actually told him, I said, I want to buy 1 ounce, a 1 ounce American Buffalo. That's the first thing I bought from Miles Franklin. Now he told me, and so the best way to do this, he told me to either call them or send an email to, let me pull it up here. Send an email if you wanted to do an order to info@milesfranklin.com, or call down here. Here's the number, 952-929-7006, and give them this code. Give them DAI Gold. That's what you want to tell them, and that is but these guys are more reasonably priced than a lot of these physical gold places that I have found. So, anywho, excited about that. Now, you also know about GILT, who is also my sponsor, and this is from Jason Cousins, the CEO of GILT. Now, GILT and the Miles Franklin are two different things. I've told you for a long time. What I do is I buy some physical gold, and then I have some gold in my GILT account, because my GILT account is MasterCard debit card where I can actually spend it. So it serves kind of a separate function for me, like a hedge. And then Jason Cousins had tweeted this out: our 1-2 punch eroding your purchasing power, capital gains and inflation. It's like running on a treadmill that's speeding up while also tripping you. Time to find assets that can defend both hits. What do you think? Gold plus XRP. Apparently 82% think that. The link to the GILT's also in the top of the description. Now, Elnor Terrett had John Deaton and Charles Gasparino on yesterday. Here is John.
The last couple minutes, what is your, how far does the SEC get with this interlocutory appeal?
I believe that Judge Torres denies the appeal, and I think she takes the opportunity to address the distinction between what Judge Rakoff said and what she said. That's my prediction. But I don't believe she's going to grant it.
The last couple minutes, what is your,
Okay. Now, Charles Gasparino, as you know, has been going on and on and on and on about anything he can say negative about Ripple. But you have to, I don't get too offended by it, and here's why. You have to understand that Charles is coming from a different place. Charles has been up in New York around all these people that we've been talking about in ETHgate for his entire life. And so you can imagine all of the corruption he's seen in his lifetime. And he probably looks at this and say, well, yeah, I see corruption all the time, and this is no worse than so-and-so. And that's the only thing I can think here, because if you think about it, even though they came into the case, Charles Gasparino they never had Jay Clayton or Bill Hinman on to ask them questions and hold them accountable. It's all behind. If they've talked to them at all, it's all behind the scenes. We don't get to see any of it. And so unless you're going to have them on where they actually have to get on camera and answer to these questions, that people can spin things any way they want. But if you're not going to make them answer questions and let people watch their reactions and what they say, we're glad to hear Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton's side of the story, but they've never been forced to answer anything. And so until then, how on earth could we believe anything coming from their side? Well, apparently Charles Gasparino must.
By creating a utility for XRP, that's good for Ripple, and I think that's where I think you're underestimating the potential for appeal. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm just telling you, there's something here, because not just what Judge Rakoff said, but what Judge Torres said, linking the two that dramatically.
Well, here's the thing: Ripple uses XRP for cross-border payments. It's ODL system. The utility of XRP actually existed before the company Ripple, because it's the native token of the underlying XRP ledger. So that's why I say, when you got a company like Spin the Bits, as you know, Charlie, Ellie, if I use my Bitcoin and I buy it, try to use it for a coffee, I got to wait 10 minutes to an hour. Yet the XRP ledger uses XRP, and you can spend your Bitcoin in 3 to 5 seconds. And so the XRP ledger in that example is being used to allow someone to spend their Bitcoin. And that is 100% independent of Ripple. And that's just one example that I'm giving. So, but listen, Do I believe it's going to be turned on appeal? Absolutely not. Could I be wrong? Of course I could be.
All right. Interesting stuff. Now, we're going into the proper party in New York City, September 29th. There's a lot of rumor going around about, Ripple will make an announcement of some sort or da-da-da. Well, I was thinking about this, and if there was going to be some kind of an announcement, I don't think it would be at the proper party. I think it would be before. And here's why. Brad Garlinghouse is going to be at Masari Mainnet from September 20th to the 22nd, and he'll be a speaker there. If he was going to make a big announcement, I would think that he would do it there and then celebrate here. And any of these three announcements are the announcements, probably most likely the announcement of some ODL customer in the United States, or settlement with the SEC, I doubt. IPO, I don't know about that one either. I think it's more likely we get an ODL in the U.S. announcement before any of those, but you never know. Then proper party in New York City. Now, this was, there was maybe a week or two ago, or no, it was last week, or it was this week, that I had tweeted about a quote from a tweet that Linda Jones had tweeted. And it was about this pitch book and a Ripple IPO. PitchBook has created a model using these metrics to predict the success of a company and can give each company an exit success probability score. The model uses machine learning, which was trained on 64,000 past exits. Here's a list of the companies available on Link2 that receive 98% exit success probability. And then, let's see, these, and it even shows which ones have a higher percentage chance of acquisition. But right here, it shows Ripple has a 98% IPO predicted exit, okay? And then also the other day I saw that iTrustCapital I think theirs was like an 89% IPO exit percentage chance. So this is all fascinating. Now, this is also fascinating. This is Linda P. Jones at that Link2 conference where I was. Watch this clip.
Than you were a year ago. I mean, it is an incredible buy still. And that's why we say, don't pay attention to what is the share price. Some people say, oh, it's expensive because it's a $40 share price. But it's not the price of the share, it's the value of the company that you want to look at, because a valuation of something like $6.6 billion with Ripple has the potential to IPO at a much greater value. So just as a comparative measure, some of you have heard me say this. How many people have heard me do a level of calculation? Some of you? Thank you. So we can compare Ripple to other companies that are like companies, that are similar companies. And that's kind of hard to do, except for one company, and that's Coinbase, that was on the Link2 platform and went public at a valuation of $86 billion. So Ripple being at $6.6 billion right now, and Coinbase going public at $86 billion, that's more than 10 times where Ripple is right now. So that's why I say, I think, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, I think that the potential for Ripple could be more than a 10-time improvement in your initial investment. So if you invested $10,000 in Ripple, it could become a $100,000 investment. And that's just if it doesn't do as well as Coinbase did. If it does better than Coinbase, which it could, and it could for one very important reason, and that is because right now Ripple holds their XRP asset at zero value on their balance sheet. So there's no value right now for XRP on the Ripple balance sheet. So if Ripple does value XRP at 50 cents today, or whatever it is selling at today, or if they're able to give it a higher valuation because it moves up from where it is today, if it went to its old highs at roughly 384, thank you, Nick. 384. That put us at over a 14x valuation, where $10,000 invested could become $100,000 $240,000. So the potential with Ripple, I think, is one of the best on the Link2 platform.
I thought that was a really great summation of the situation on the current Ripple equity valuation. And just a reminder, Link2 is my sponsor, and Link2 does have Ripple private equity on the platform. We live in exciting times. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that XRP is not on the Ripple balance sheet, the XRP escrow, as of now. Thanks for listening.